Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and I never trip over my ego when I talk about how a board rides. And today we're talking about the Stranda Descender Evo. Same shape, camber profile, stance location as the regular Evo, but with some carbon stringers and some D3O. It gives it a little extra pop while not sacrificing any dampness, maybe even a little more. And this is one hell of a fun, free ride, big mountain board that I think a lot of people will really appreciate. I love the 7x2 inserts, and it's got a big mountain straight liney personality that can also mellow out and get a little turny if you're not feeling full on aggressive, which a lot of us often have those moods, and that's why I like this dual personality. So I rode this primarily with my Union Force bindings and my Nitro Team TLS boots. I didn't put a lot of time on this board this year. I put the old Descender through its paces in all conditions. So this time around, I took out this a couple days along with the Descender to see if I noticed any differences in the upgrade to the tech. And the answer is yes, I did. So you don't have to watch this review if you've watched my Descender. This is the better board. And this is an honest, objective review for you, the consumer. And if you like reviews like this, then support our sponsor, Blower Board Shop. They're a family-run business out of the U.S. with a large online presence, fast shipping, excellent customer support, and of course, competitive pricing. So if you want to support a shop that has been supporting snowboarders longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders, click through our links to Blower Board Shop and buy something. It would be greatly appreciated. So when it comes to sizing, Matt's wanted to send me a 161. He thought that was the best fit for my specs. He didn't have one, so I got a 58. And while this is fun, and it was a perfect comparison to the 58 that they sent before, I agree with him, and I would rather have the 161. I think that's just a better all-around fit for my specs, especially my weight and my height and the way you want to ride this board. And yet, I think my boots should still be able to control it pretty well because this was super easy. I'd actually like a little less turn initiation, so I'd love to size up and try the 61. So when it comes to shape, this is tapered and directional with a good bit less tail than nose. You have a much bigger nose. And while the tail doesn't have a ton of taper, it doesn't have a lot of surface area and it's considerably smaller. So you do feel like you're on a pretty directional ride. In comparing it to the old Descender, the stance width is now a little bit narrower, yet it still has a similar setback on board. And I think overall it has a good bit narrower reference stance. For example, if you set it all the way back, it's 20.75 inches wide and you're 3.75 inches back from center of board. That's pretty good. In comparison to the regular Descender, it's 3.875 at 22 inches for the 58. Then when it comes to the camber profile, you have a decent camber underfoot that goes well past the inserts towards the tail with a touch of early rise before the tail, but not much. Then before the nose, there's a good bit more early rise. It's not a ton, but there's some there before this long, floaty nose. So overall, this is a far cry from full camber. It's much less technical, but it has that stability of camber in all conditions from hard snow to powder. It always has that same personality underfoot that most people really appreciate. It's great one footing, flat basing, and if you're a committed intermediate and you want a really good board, I'd say go with the regular Stranda. It's a little softer, it's a little easier to twist and engage a turn, and therefore skid your turns a little bit easier, but they both have the same camber profile. And while it's not the easiest to skid a turn, it's not bad. Advanced expert riders will absolutely love this though, and it'll never feel like it's too taxing when you get off your game or you're just not feeling 100% full throttle. Now, when it comes to edge hold, it's hard to pick up, but there is a slight disruption in this side cut. There are some bumps near the insert that really help improve grip. This is a great hard snow ride. While it's not the perfect icy snow ride, it grips really well in most conditions average riders like myself and others want to ride. Let's talk Descender Evo Flex. Oh, it's medium stiff for sure. It's got a lot of energy without being like that ultra poppy. It has a nice flex in and a good pop out. Down by the tail, there's a lot of give here, but as you get to this region here, it feels a good bit stiffer. The nose is pretty soft too, and it's soft throughout the entire part of the nose. And then as it gets to that early rise section, it gets a little stiffer, but not too stiff. And then between the feet, it's pretty stiff. And the softest elements of the board are in the rocker transitions into the nose and into the tail. Let's continue this flex discussion on the table. This has two major things that the Descender doesn't. It has carbon under the hood, so that helps with pop and drive, but it can also make the board more bucky, more chattery, more cranky in some uneven snow. So what they did is they added D3O. The combination of those two things, along with this camber profile, flex personality, etc., make this an incredible all-day ride. That's Stranda's thing. They don't like going for that ultra light, ultra poppy, ultra chattery, ultra cranky, messy, nasty feel in uneven snow. They really appreciate a board that makes a good all-day ride, and this just does so well in any kind of condition. This was more damp, had more pop. Everything about this I liked better in all conditions. And that's saying a lot because I really like the Descender. When it comes to butters, I could lean up into the tail a little bit and get this to butter okay. The nose was a little easier. It's not the best board for buttering, but it's more than doable, and the pop is really good. It's not the most ultra poppy board I've tried, but it's definitely in that upper tier, and if you get a little bit of speed and then engage this camber and get it to pop, it'll pop really well. This is a great board for getting straight airs. There is a little bit of tail sticking up, so you can land switch with this if you want, and if you want to ride switch, it's okay. I actually liked some other boards better in this free ride world, like my United Shapes Cadet, but that's not as damp and aggressive and doesn't have the grip. And the flagships, they ride switch a little better, but this is still no slouch for this kind of directional shape. And while this 158 would be kind of fun in the pipe for my directional old man carves, the 61 that I would actually buy would be a little more challenging, and it's not really great for the park. When it comes to turning, I just love how quickly this initiated a turn. It was almost too quick for my specs. Again, that's why I'd like the 161, but even if I had that, it would turn whenever I wanted it. If you're in steep, tight conditions and it's critical you make a certain turn, this is going to be a good friend and handle it no problem. There are some better boards in the trees for tight turns, but overall it's very good, and I think it's because this tail really just tries to stay out of your way in those really tight tree lines where the snow's uneven and messy and sometimes catches up your tail when you're trying to make a hard right or hard left. This does a very good job for not being super set back on board. Then when you get this on edge, the spring and the pop and drive out of the turn is exceptional. Getting off the Descender, a board I loved. I did this one run that was just so fun, and they rarely groom this part of the mountain at Mount Bachelor. It's a little steeper, and I came into it with a decent amount of speed and did a run with the Evo. Then I got on the Descender and I just wanted to get back on the Evo. It did that run so much better, handled the speed, the edge stayed quieter throughout my turns, and I didn't feel as sketched. Don't get me wrong, the old Descender did great, but this just did that much better. And this has a pretty balanced turning radius. For being this kind of board, kind of big mountain, I found that I could circle carve pretty well with this, across the groomer carve really well with this. Medium radius turns were super fun, and then when you get into those down the line, longer drawn out turns, whatever they're doing with the side cut really makes this hold well. If you size this right, you can do very long, sustained, high-speed runs with either long, drawn-out turns or just point it, and this is going to be very competent. You know me, I don't like die cut, but this base is fast, it's durable, it has excellent wax retention, and upper tier glide, near the best of the best. I love this. I feel like I'm on an ultra damp Gentim stick when I'm riding this. And when it comes to powder, I think most people who have a narrower stance will appreciate this new setback on board. There's very good directional float. The small tail sinks down really well. Yes, this shines for big mountain powder riding more than, let's say, the Bull Rider. And of course, my beloved Tree Surfer that I now own in a 162 and absolutely love. I prefer that in most conditions over the 157. Those are better low angle, super deep powder boards. But if you're riding more medium to steep terrain, you're going to love this because there's a lot more tail. If you want to drop something medium sized to really big, you've got more landing gear, you've got a more centered feel. It's just going to feel more competent launching off of things in steep terrain, and it will be easy to set up for those launches too. Overall, great float. Maybe not the best low angle POW board, but not a slouch either. Just really shines the best in steeper, deeper stuff. And overall, I really liked the Descender, and that was a favorite until I tried this. This is the better board, and it's so nice to try a higher end board that has more dampness and more pop. Usually you're sacrificing pop and weight for a shit ton of dampness, and it's just usually not a fun time. When I see a high-end board, I kind of whinge, and I'm like, oh, I know I have to try this. I know people are gonna ask me to try it, and then I try it and I just prefer the regular board. This is how I personally think high-end boards should be. More dampness, more pop, just better everywhere. There you have it.
How we doing, everybody? Davey Boy here to give you a big guy's perspective of the Stranda Descender Evo. I rode this board on a 162 wide. I'm 6'3.5", 245. I rode it with size 12 Burton Ion boots and size 12 Nitro Team TLS boots as well. I rode this board about 10 or 12 days this year. I got it in everything from medium deep powder, 1 to 2 feet, super deep powder, 3 to 4, and I got it out in a variety of springtime conditions. I also got it out midwinter when we had a little dry spell, so it was just perfect firm corduroy. This 162 wide is the perfect size for me. I rode it a little more centered than the other Stranda board I reviewed. I also reviewed the Bull Rider. Keep an eye out for that review. And I like this thing a lot. With my riding style, it was more of a medium POW to slushy condition type of board for me. And with the conditions I rode it in, I think this length was really good. If you are someone who's looking for this to be more of a quiver killer and you want to get some good float and powder with this, I would totally feel comfortable sizing up. But for me personally and the conditions and riding style I was using this for, the 162 was the perfect size. This 162 could have easily handled another 15, 20 pounds, pushing 25 to 30, and it would still ride and perform at an optimal level. I didn't feel like my 245 pounds were maxing this thing out at all. This board's poppy. It's easy to turn. I had a good time doing all different types of turning radius on this board. It was comfortable digging a deeper trench across the groomer, and it also was comfortable doing tighter down the line turns that are more driving or even kind of pumpy edge-to-edge turns. This board felt really comfortable underfoot and all different types of turning radiuses. I noticed that it was a little bit more of a centered weighted turn. Even though it has a little bit of setback, it felt a little bit more of like a twin underfoot. And overall, I like this board a lot. All the Stranda boards I've ridden have great construction. They're all very damp while still being poppy and quick turning underfoot. I really have no complaints about these boards. But also, if you're someone that sees steeper terrain and drier snow than what I see at Mount Bachelor, this board could definitely work for bigger, deeper powder days. Just personally, the snow density and the lack of steep pitch on Mount Bachelor, this board wasn't quite set back and floaty enough for me to call a dedicated powder board. But if you're down towards Tahoe, or you're out in Utah or Colorado, or just anywhere where you get steeper, deeper terrain with drier snow, this could be a really good big mountain option. But if you are someone that wants a board that can kind of do it all, but handle the deeper powder days a little better, consider the Stranda Bull Rider.